Hello Indie Game fan, February was a little truncated due to the Steam Next Festival, but some good games did release, including Plan B Terraform, a beautifully crafted city and factory builder title where you're attempting to terraform a lifeless planet. You do this by setting up production chains to get the resources needed, all while contending with the dynamically changing atmosphere, weather, temperature, humidity, and more, where it has impressed so far in early access with somewhat of a win the game condition, but more updates and tweaks to come. I do love my rhythm games, and if you are the same, do check out Rhythm Sprout's Sick Beats and Bad Sweets, a vibrant and cartoony entry where you play as the Onion Knight on a quest to save the kingdom, find the princess, and to defeat the evil King Sugar Daddy. Evidently, this has quite a humorous tone, with a wacky setup and funny characters to meet, but where the rhythm game elements are pretty tough, so don't let the visuals fool you. It has a nice mix of tracks across genres, going to wild extremes like K-pop and lo-fi, metal to EDM and more, which thus provides variety.
How I wish I could let you slumber beneath the soil for another season, but life has need of you, so you must wake up.
I've got my axe and my shield, and I'm ready for anything.
Now, before you run away, yes, Aces and Adventures is indeed a deck building title, but wait, it's not a roguelite like Slay the Spire, but instead has handcrafted story campaigns, 13 of them to be exact, which is plenty of content, but does also have a procedurally generated mode for replayability.
I am the snake in the owl's nest.
I have unearthed the secrets beneath the sand.
The trap is set.
Heads I win, tails you lose.
It is based on poker, where your cards will determine the effectiveness of your attacks, which, combined with special ability cards, adds the variety required for a game like this to be interesting. It has meta progression with unlocks for each character class, with a fairly standard fantasy setting, but the core deck building and combat systems are tough enough to warrant some attention.
Launch devastating attacks. It is a heavy burden for one still waking, but trust in your growth, and take courage as you draw the next card from the deck of fate.
This next title from the developer of the platform fighter Rivals of Aether is titled Dungeons of Aether, and, unsurprisingly, is pretty good, being a dungeon crawling title with 1v1 turn-based combat, but it has interesting mechanics. This adds the randomness of a dice roll to the combat, where depending on what numbers come up, will affect your strategy in battle as you try to outmatch your opponent's statistics. The pixel art is gorgeous and the writing is good, so pick it up if you love RPGs.
Seems the cold might have gotten the best of me. What do you think makes a good leader? Willpower? Control? Understanding? Seems like you're going to be here for some time.
This next one is one example of indie games by YouTubers done right, where The Pale Beyond is headed up by Belloir Gaming, a YouTube channel that primarily focuses on World of Warcraft, so this is a curious change of pace. It's a striking hand-drawn management sim where you're unwillingly put in charge of an expedition where your ship was sent to find out what happened to the previous voyage, which disappeared without a trace.
It's not enough to simply survive. And whether you like it or not, you're in charge now.
However, things do go horribly wrong when the ship gets stuck in ice, where you then need to manage crew morale and supplies in order to survive. It is tense and full of intrigue, with multiple endings as well, so if you love your narrative titles, this is one to get.
The ice bonds people. It breaks them as well. It'll be a long time before anyone comes looking for you. Think you can last? It's merciless out there. Injury, illness, death. You need to lead that lot to solid ground before the ice swallows them whole. Lead them out. Lead them home.
2D Dark Souls roguelite certainly wasn't on the bingo card for the year, but yet Corpse Keeper does exist and is pretty good. You pick a party of 3 undead warriors reanimated to serve your bidding, delving into the cathedral to slay a demon, where it's one of the more unique games in the roguelite space. As you advance from room to room, you take part in almost fighting game style 1v1 combat with a nice variety of both playable characters and enemies. Combat is stamina based like a Soulsborne title, with sidestepping, rolling, parrying, dashing and more being the integral components of your Dance of Death. Your characters do degrade over time, but you do earn currency to get stronger from run to run, resulting in a compelling gameplay loop.
I strike fear into the dead heart of the demon, because I am the Corpse Keeper.
Oh my goodness, on paper, Sons of the Forest is perhaps the most successful release of the month, with an astounding 95,000 Steam reviews as of recording, which by my estimates is more than 4 million copies sold, which at a price of $30, and adjusting for tax, Steam's cut and so on, must have netted the developer a cool $40 million already, all while this game is still in early access. Technically, this developer is independent, but the success of their earlier title, The Forest, enabled them to scale and grow to make this sequel, which by all accounts appears to be fantastic, being a more polished version of their original, where you're once again stranded on a remote island that just so happens to be filled with cannibals, where this game shows why developers continue to make first-person survival games. Hello! If you're seeing this, you might not know that I have a Patreon, where support from there really adds stability to the channel as we build towards the indie mega list, so do hop on over and chip in if you can. I just want to squeeze in a quick mention of Noobs Want to Live, a bullet heaven roguelite that is great, where the variety of characters and the wonderful art style is at least something different in this subgenre, where interestingly, this is not an early access game, but the 5-person team are still going to be adding new content and could be one of the greats. The roguelite deck builder Hellcard is a spin-off of the papercraft Diablo-like Book of Demons, where our heroes are surrounded on all sides by enemies and have to work together to push them back. The most interesting part is that this is not a side-on view like in Slay the Spire, but rather uses a radial view instead, where enemies in each section will target the respective hero, with the co-op twist being interesting, but does have AI companions for single player and is one to watch in early access. I'm so happy that this title found success since it is about as indie as you can get, where a weird and unique idea being rewarded is my idea of the indie dream. This is a turn-based fighting game of all things, where the action pauses in between frames and both you and your opponent choose your next move, which resolves simultaneously, so your only move is hustle enters the ranks of the greats, where you can watch this video for the best indie fighting games.